This is Heartpreneur Radio, maximizing your personal and business results by leading with your heart. With your host, Terri Levine. Listen every week as Terri tackles the topics that will help you become a successful heart-centered entrepreneur. Be sure to read the blog posts at www.heartpreneur.com/blog. Come back often and add this show to your favorite RSS feed or subscribe in iTunes. You can also follow Terri on Twitter at MentorTerri and on Facebook.com/Heartpreneur Terri Levine. And now here's Terri.
Hello and welcome. It's Terri Levine here with Heartpreneur Radio and Heartpreneur TV. Now, I'm excited to have you with us if you understand Heartpreneur. And you're probably like, Heartpreneur what? Or maybe you're a follower or a friend and you already know. The Heartpreneur cause, the Heartpreneur philosophy has about 6,000 members currently. And our job is to disrupt the way business is currently done. What does that mean? It means our job is to do business from a more heart-centered place, actually caring about our clients, our customers, our patients, our employees, our contractors, our vendors. And we stand for 3 words, and the words are transparency, authenticity, and integrity. Why do we want to disrupt business? Because most people are doing business in a transactional way. Everyone's a number. There is no customer service anymore. We're changing that. We're disrupting the way business is done, and the businesses that we work with and the businesses that we help as business consultants are not only more successful and have better customer reviews, they keep their customers long-term. They actually, through reverse marketing, have people raise their hands who are qualified prospects and who choose to do business with them. It's a whole different way of business. Now, I interview incredible business leaders who have value and understand the Heartpreneur philosophy. And we get to understand how they actually serve people. So I really want you to pay attention because I hand-selected this guest. I met this guest approximately a month ago. And you know how sometimes when you meet people, they instantly resonate? Well, I could feel within an instant. I know we made eye contact and a smile, and I said, I have to have this person on. You may ask why, and I'm going to tell you why. He is heart-based, he shares the Heartpreneur philosophy, and he definitely can give you tips and pointers. So I recommend that you actually, if you can, get a notepad, get a pen. If you're driving, make sure that you listen or watch this again later. And I would make this a show that you continuously watch and listen to. So let me tell you a little bit about my guest today. And I really, again, am so delighted. I'm honored to have him with me. And I already consider him a friend. He's the author of Money Management Mindset. His name is Israel Duran. He's a speaker. He's an entrepreneur, he's a business strategist, and he's also the founder of Israel Duran and Associates. And what they do is they are a global coaching and training company. And what they're focused on resonates so much with Heartpreneur. They're helping purpose-driven entrepreneurs leverage their knowledge and their expertise so that they're able to create highly profitable businesses that really make a difference in the world. And that fits in 100% with the Heartpreneur philosophy. Israel, welcome. I'm so delighted to have you.
Thank you so much, Terri, for having me on the show. It's an honor.
It's great to be with you, and you come from this heartfelt philosophy. Let me ask, how did you even get into business? What led you down your path?
Yes, that's a very good question. And the reality is I found myself against a wall. I found myself, perhaps like many people do today in the United States and around the world, where you're drowned in debt because of student loans and you need some way and somehow how to feed your family. And in that corner, I say, that's when my first business idea came to me. And by faith, I started the business, and I learned a lot through my first business around 5 years ago.
Wow, that's awesome. When you hear me talk about the Heartpreneur philosophy, what comes up for you? What might even resonate with you?
It's very important for me, and Terry, I must say, the heartpreneur is something that is very needed around the world. It's something that's a global philosophy, and I believe many business owners should embrace it. So a show like this is very important. And for me, when I hear it, just connects to purpose. And that's really what I love is doing business purpose driven. It's not just about money. It's not just about, like you said, a transactional item, but it's really about the impact that you're bringing to the individual or the business that you're serving and being able to actually make a difference in the world. And that to me is purpose, right? It's you're not only led by making money, but you're actually walking in your purpose and using your gifts.
No, I love that we're talking about purpose because I've heard so many people talk about purpose and it's almost connected as if passion and purpose were the same thing. And I'm curious, what do you see as, if you do, a distinction between purpose and perhaps passion?
Sure. That's a very good question. And I actually have a process I take people through so they can actually understand further into the purpose and the clarity, asking simple questions that most people die without hearing. And essentially, purpose is what you have inside of you that you need to extract, and it's usually connected to a gift in the things that you went through. But passion is more of like a pain, something that it's connected to something that you dislike or strongly hate, but it's something that you're called to solve. So there is a distinction, but they do go hand in hand because when you walk in your purpose, you're going to live passionately.
Ooh, I never heard anyone say that. I'm going to repeat that. When you walk in your purpose, you're going to live passionately. By the way, I call that a writer downer, something that our viewers, our listeners should really take in and breathe in. And those aren't just words. That's very meaningful and impactful. You know, the thing that became important to me in Heartpreneur is I want to help other businesses. And I only want to help other businesses who really help other people, right? I don't want somebody who has a widget or a pet rock that doesn't make a real difference. So who do you love to work with, Israel?
I love to work with individuals that have so much potential, but they just don't know how to extract it from their life and learn how to monetize from it. And this was me. So I know that when I first started, there wasn't anybody out there that I knew to help me around 5 years ago. But luckily and thankfully, through the years, I was able to meet mentors such as Joe Bauer, a lot of things online. And I was able to learn from individuals that can help extract what was in me. You see, I think the biggest thing, Terry, is the education system in America is not geared to identify your purpose, but it's more geared to allow you to learn how to develop skills or learn information to be able to get a job, but that's not really what you were put on earth to do. I mean, for me, education is supposed to extract the gift that you have. If I go to school, it's not supposed to give me a gift. It's supposed to extract the gift that I have within me. So that's essentially what I love doing as a coach, as a consultant, is being able to educate people to extract their unique gift, to extract their unique purpose so they can gain the clarity into what they need to do to be able to serve their gift to the world, to actually make a difference. Or even if they're working at a corporate job, they can become a leader the right way, and that's a servant leader.
Now let's talk about this. You've mentioned quite a few important things.
Yes.
So you're talking about how much we have internal gifts, and one of the things that I really heard, and it resonates a lot, is whether it's education or a mentor, a coach or consultant, they help bring that out of us. And I think what a lot of people believe is somebody has to put something in me. Education has to put something in me. A coach, a consultant, a mentor, they have to give me something. And I think, along with you, the best education, the best coaches, the best consultants, the best mentors can work with a student who is ready to embrace their intrinsic gifts versus just, let me dump a bunch of education on you. Let me help you find what's already within you and let's bring that out. Is that aligned?
100%. I always like to use the example I learned from a man called Dr. Miles Monroe. A fish never goes to swimming school to learn how to swim, right? Because it has the gift of swimming within itself. The bird never goes to flight school to learn how to fly because it already has the gift of flight within itself. So what do you have inside of you? What do we have inside of us? And it's the discovery that when we discover the gifts that are within us, and I have a process that I actually help people do this, then they can gain the clarity. And when they have the clarity, now they have the direction to take action and serve their gift to the world and actually bring an impact that's actually fulfilling, because they know that they're doing something that they're passionate about and they're actually making a difference.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm resonating. So part of my story is I did a lot of things I didn't resonate with. I started as a speech language pathologist, and I instantly realized it was a very depressing field. And I said, this isn't what I meant to do, even though, I went to school for 6 years. I have a master's in this. And so I sold that business. And then I did something that was in my heart, and had an art consulting business that I loved. And then after a while, I said, that's not making a big enough impact. And then I left that, and I started several businesses on my journey. And then I worked for 5 years in corporate America, and that was not a fit for me at all. And I've been doing this consulting and coaching now for the last 25 years. And I know I'm doing the right thing. I'm at home doing this. I'm not seeking anything else. And the important thing for me, and I really want people to get this because it ties with what Israel is saying, is if you're not doing what you're really meant to do and the way you're meant to serve, and it's not aligned with your heart and your purpose, and you're not that bird or your fish, right? That is just, oh my gosh, this is so natural. So what I said, Israel, when I started consulting, the first year I got into this profession, I kept saying to people, I'm finally at home doing what I meant to do. Does that make sense to you?
Makes 100%. And I smile because that's exactly what it is. You see, imagine for the listeners out there, imagine doing something that you actually love and you're passionate about, and you're actually making a difference in your life, is actually making an impact, inspiring others and influencing others for great change on earth. I mean, it's just so fulfilling, Terri.
It is. And you know what the coolest thing is when we're impacting one person who then gets it, they can pass it forward. They can impact one person. I remember years ago, I was with Mark Victor Hansen from Chicken Soup for the Soul. And he said, 1 + 1 does not equal 2. 1 + 1 = 11. And I always felt that. I'm like, if I impact one person and they pass it forward, and then they impact one person and they pass it forward. So I believe that the work you're doing, that I'm doing, is not only aligned, I believe it can make a real difference for businesses and business leaders. Yes?
100%, Terri. I agree with you 100%. And I call it, I use a phrase, I say, let your life be a ripple effect of greatness.
I love that. Ripple effect of greatness. Beautiful. So what are you working on? What projects? What's going on? What are you excited about, passionate about? What's happening?
Yeah, so I'm actually very excited now because 2020 is going to be a very good year. It's the year to speak. I'm going to be doing a lot more speaking engagements around the country, and I also will be looking in to speak around the globe as well. And I'm just happy because and joyful because I'll be able to serve my gift to the world and in a higher dimension, in a higher level, and actually make a change in people's life. You see, Terri, what you and me do goes beyond business. I mean, when we help the people that we help and allow someone that was fired from their job, like one of my recent clients, literally fired from his job, came to me, and we helped him start his business. And now, within 9 months, he generated over $250K, verifiable, paid off all his debt within 6 months. That changes somebody's life. You see, it's not just about the money. When you help somebody go from 0 to 30, that changes their life, and it brings an impact, like you said. And that's what we're here for. We're here to, like you said, impact and serve what we have. Because what you have, I need, and vice versa, and we can all learn from each other. And in this time, that's what I'm focusing on. I have some courses I'm launching. I have some other group coaching I'm actually launching as well. Thankfully to you, giving me some advice, which I thank you for. And, you know, I'm just excited for the impact that's to come in 2020.
I'm excited for you. I'm excited about the amount of lives that you're going to change. You know, one of the reasons I speak and I write, as you know, I can only coach and consult with a certain amount of people. Even if I do a group, there's just a limit of how much I can do in a group, right? Or a webinar. When I go and speak, I have spoken with audiences as large as 18,000 people. In that time frame, I'm now touching 18,000 people's lives who can touch more lives. And to me, that's the benefit of speaking. It's also the only reason I really write books. I write books because if I have a message to share, it's a way I can share it with many, many people. It's the way that it gets translated and it can go worldwide, and I can help more people. So I'm happy to hear that you're going to be out there speaking. I know that that's going to make an impact. By the way, if someone is listening and they're saying, oh my gosh, I want to connect with Israel, I might want to have him speak, I might want to know more, I might want to find out how to work with him, I might want to know about his courses, his coaching, whatever, his consulting, what is the very best way to get in touch with you, Israel?
The best way is to go on my website, israelduran.com, ISRAELDURAN.com.
Perfect. And by the way, you know, I tell my client family members this all the time. It's the best thing if you can get a website with your name. It's your name, and that's the best website there is. You know, if your name is Kodak or Pepsi, you're probably not going to be able to claim that. However, it really is very effective when you can have a website with your name, unless you have developed a notable brand, a brand that people are already following, they already know the brand, and then you can have a website called Nike or anything else that you choose. It's really important that you get that. What do you, when you hear the words integrity, transparency, and authenticity, what do you feel about those words, and what do they mean to you? I'm curious.
Integrity is everything. Integrity is the only thing, because if you don't have integrity, you don't have anything. And for me, I do business in a way of integrity, authenticity, and truth. Because if you don't, you're not going to be able to bring the impact that you want. This world is actually smaller than people think. And if you don't over deliver on one of your clients, or if you don't serve someone correctly on one occasion, that one occasion could limit you for serving other people in the future. So integrity is everything.
I actually believe the same thing. And I believe that my mother taught me something when I was a very young girl, and it stayed with me forever. She said, you only have one thing in this world. And she had me guess what that was, and I didn't guess correctly. And she finally said, you have your word. You are your word and nothing but your word. And that has been profound for me my whole life, ever since she taught me that. I was a young girl. I always remembered that, which is why even in a moment as a young child, when, you know, they say, Terry, did you blah, blah, blah? And I thought, oh, I don't want to say yes because I'm going to get in trouble, right? I didn't tell the white lie. I thought about it. I didn't tell it because I remember my mother saying, you're your word. So I would have to fess up and say, yes, I'm the one who did that, knowing I was going to get in trouble and, you know, get the punishment. So I think it's a valuable lesson. And I see today so many people passing the buck. So I wanted to share this little story. I had shipped something back to Apple through FedEx, and it didn't get there to Apple. And I was trying to track it. And I contacted FedEx, and FedEx told me, well, it never got scanned. You put it in the wrong box, which I didn't. I put it in a FedEx box. It must have not dropped in the box. Well, it dropped because I checked it. And the woman on the phone began to yell at me and talk over me and hung up on me.
Wow.
Yeah. So I contacted FedEx, got to the next level, high-level manager, who, after hearing my story, said, well, it wasn't scanned, so therefore we don't have it. And I said, right, that's the problem I'm calling about. So he gets the same woman on the phone. Now she's with a corporate superior manager, and she continues to yell over him, yell at me, and then hang up again. And I said, sir, is this an example of the kind of customer service that you have at FedEx? And he said, well, there's absolutely nothing we can do. So I go to Apple. I contact Apple and I tell the exact same story. Now, they don't know what happened, right? Apple says, let us track it down. The next morning, so at like 6 o'clock at night until 8 o'clock the next morning, Apple has tracked my package,
Wow.
which was received somehow, even though FedEx didn't scan it. It was not only received, Apple said, you know what, it was sent to the wrong department. However, we're not going to ship it back to you, make you to reship it. We're instantaneously in this moment giving you a full credit for what you shipped back. No question.
Wow.
So I really want people to get this. When you do business the way FedEx just did business, number one, I'm not shipping anything through FedEx. Number two, what am I talking about here on a radio show, TV show, and a blog? What company is getting noticed? FedEx, right? So you have to, as a company, I don't care if you're a solopreneur or you work at a large company like the Fortune 100 companies I've worked with in the past, it doesn't matter. Everyone on your team has to have that same customer service philosophy and has to be empowered, because if you do wrong by one customer, you've done wrong by more than one. What do you think of that, Israel?
Terry, I think that is wise. It's wisdom. It's everything, because you just had an experience that now you're speaking of, and because of that one incident, potentially someone just heard that story about FedEx is going to choose to go with UPS,
Exactly.
right? Because it's the reality. So I think with integrity and wow, I'm really resonating with this. I just had something happen to me, which I'm sure you have had many times, where sometimes we run into clients where they're not integrate, if you will. They say something and they do another thing.
Yes.
But really, when it comes down to the test, it's really on us. What are we going to do? What are we going to do when that client says one thing but does another and then is accusing us, even though we were trying to help them? What are we going to do? And that's the moments where really you actually show what customer service you have. It's great to treat people that treat you great. Anybody can do that. But then when someone actually is accusing you and, pretty much accusing you that you're not keeping your word, or they're not keeping their word, what do you do? And I think with Heartpreneurs, what we do is we go the extra mile. We go the extra mile and show them many times that we're actually different than most people. And it's just resonating with me because literally, I just went through something more or less similar.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I was having a very fascinating conversation over the weekend on Facebook in a particular group that has a lot of coaches and consultants. And somebody said, well, what do you say when you're talking with a prospective client and the client says, I have to sleep on it, I can't possibly do it without asking my partner, my spouse, my whomever? And I say, very simple. I say, we're not a fit, we're not a match. I work with people who can make instantaneous decisions, who are 100% independent and don't rely on anybody else. And so somebody came back to me and said, that sounds very salesy. I said, I don't think you're really getting it. I won't take that person. If they call me the next day, if they email me, if they call my team and say, okay, I've thought about it, I asked for permission, I want to work with you, the answer for me is a no. And they said, well, I don't get it. I'm like, let me explain. I want to work with people who are like me, who are their word, who are decisive, who jump right in, and who in this partnership, because I really do view coaching, consulting, and mentoring as a partnership, I really do, they instantaneously go, I need what you have, I want what you have, and I'm committed. I'm going to be a partner, I'm not sure, I'm going to consult the stars, ask a crystal, I'm going to talk to a partner. They instantaneously say, this is for me, and they jump in. And then the person messaged me back this morning and said, oh my gosh, that was a profound lesson. And every single time that I have not held a boundary like that, I've worked with a client family member who really wasn't quite right. Any thoughts about that conversation, Israel? I had to share it with you.
100% agree with you. I think that we are what we attract, but sometimes because of the love and the impact, and sometimes, we're emotional human beings. Sometimes we understand a person's life and we say, you know what, let me help this person. And we start out the relationship with helping them. And what happens is people lose value in what we have. And then they take advantage of what we have. And then they don't value what we have, right? So I agree with you, Terry. You got to have a target market, who you actually want to work with. You got to be decisive on it. You got to be clear. I don't work with people who don't make decisions, and then stick to it.
I love that, and stick to it. Yeah, I've figured out over the years of doing this that if I'm very, very selective about who I work with, because I want to give people results, we even guarantee results, so I want to be selective. The other thing that I really recommend and I advise our clients is to also sell more high ticket. And it's not just because, yes, you make more money that way. That's not the primary reason. I have found that when people jump into something that they're more financially committed to, they stick with it. As an example, I have a good friend who spent like $100 on some weight loss program. And a week later, we were out, a whole bunch of us having dinner, and she was eating, cake and bread and cocktails. And I said, "Oh, is this on the program?" She goes, "Oh, none of it is. I don't really care." It was $100. Now, about a year later, she went on a weight loss program that was $3,000 a month. Okay, $3,000 a month. We went out to lunch one day, and she had a small salad with no dressing and a little piece of grilled chicken with no oil, no butter. And I said, "What's the difference for you?" And she said, "I spent a ton of money on this. I have to stick with it."
Yes.
Do you agree with that philosophy? Like, where do you fit on that? Not everyone is aligned with that.
I agree with you 100%. And wow, that principle, because that's a principle, that principle applies to anything. Like, for example, before getting into business, when I was in college, I used to play baseball and I wanted to get drafted. And when an MLB team invests in someone and they draft them, they give them a signing bonus. That first, second, and third draft pick has a higher signing bonus. So they literally just invested millions of dollars many times in these young talent. And let's say they invested much less money for a 50-round draft pick. Just by the investment, it could be that the 50th draft pick is playing better than the first round draft pick, but that 50th draft pick is going to leave first because they have more skin in the game in that first. So they're going to give him more time to succeed, even though he might not be playing well. They're still going to give him more time because they have skin in the game. So it's the same way with people investing. They want to give it more time because they have to get an ROI on their investment. So I agree with you.
Brilliant. I love it. And I really want our viewers and our listeners to really take that in, because I see people trying to make a living by selling a little ebook or a $97 product or course. And I'm saying, don't give people a Band-Aid. That's a Band-Aid. I know when I write books, that helps people to this degree. And when they say yes and they come to hear me speak or they work with me as a consultant, that's where I can really, really help them. However, I'm willing to give them a book or something like that, give them to allow them to get a piece of a process, I don't want people to think you can buy a $97 solution, right? And a lot of these funnels got to tell people, here's the solution, it's $97, get it. And the next thing they say is, well, that's not the best solution, it's $297. Well, that's not the best, it's $499, and you keep going. I say, whatever the best solution is that you can guarantee your full solution, offer that, only offer that. I don't care if it's 5,000, 15, 25, 50,000, offer people what is going to make a real difference. Israel, who's your ideal client family member? If someone's listening and they're resonating with you, and I'd say, how could they not? Who do you choose to work with?
I choose to work with purpose-driven entrepreneurs that either are working directly with individuals or businesses. And they're in a position right now where they want to scale their business.
Perfect.
That's what my ideal client is, yes.
That's ideal. So as you're listening, as you're watching, if you're resonating with Israel, if you're getting value, I'm already getting tons of value. Start thinking, is this someone that I might want in my life? I have 8 mentors in my life, 8. And I've had most of them with me for a long, long time. As Israel knows, one of our mutual mentors, Joel Bauer, we talk about all the time. This is my 16th year with Joel. And people ask me, well, why would you have the same mentor consistently? Some of my client family members have been with me for 25 years. And the why of that is when you find someone that you resonate with and really gets to know you on a personal level, why would you change? Joel understands me, how I think, how I tick, and understands my business, right? So then I get asked, well, why do you have 8? Why don't you just have 1? Well, I have people for different things. I have someone that helps me with humor, because for years of my life, I looked at life very seriously. And so I have a humor coach who's been with me for years and years. I have someone who helps me with my health and wellness. I have Joel that actually helps me with my business and a little bit with certain things that I do on platforms. I have all these different people in my life. So what people sometimes go is, well, I already have a coach, I already have a consultant, I already have a mentor. You don't have someone like Israel. And I would like you to think about, do I have a place? And the best way to know that is to connect with him. Israel, the website again?
IsraelDuran.com. And I have some free trainings on there too for you all.
Wow. So you can even get some free trainings. Literally go to his website, right? Very easy. Go to his website, free training. You know, this is a Heartpreneur. Heartpreneurs aren't there to, let me get some money from you. We give first. We give. And the philosophy comes from years and years ago when I was in high school. I worked at an ice cream store called Baskin Robbins. And Baskin Robbins gives out to this day pink spoons of samples. And when I was trained at Baskin Robbins, my manager said, Terri, offer everyone samples and let them sample as much as they want. They could sample every flavor and never ask them, what do you want to buy? And I said, well, how's that going to work? And the manager said, I've been here for 5 years. No one comes in and tastes who isn't ready to experience more. And if they are, they can leave. Well, I worked there for a couple of summers, and I can tell you, every person was grateful for a taste. And in my experience, most people actually who sampled it liked something. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to buy from everyone you taste from. It means that as a business owner, open your heart, be a giver first, and understand that the more you give, the more that you will get back in whatever form that looks like. Israel, we've got a couple minutes left. Give me maybe a parting sentence that sums up your philosophy and why you want to connect with folks.
I love what you just said. I'm going to piggyback right off what you just said. If people love your fruit, they'll continue to water your tree. And that's what I do.
Oh, I got goosebumps. If people love your fruit, they'll continue to water your tree. Again, I've got 2 like major writer downers for you. That is another one. And folks, you know, some of these are great tweets. They're great memes. Just give credit to source, right? So you want to say who you heard it from, and you want to make sure that you mention Israel in posts. And I recommend that you actually, when you listen and watch shows like ours, you listen for pieces of nuggets like that. Israel, I want to thank you so much for being my guest here today at Heartpreneur Radio and TV. You are such a delight and you create so much value. You, my friend, are a true Heartpreneur.
Thank you so much, Terri. I appreciate you and for the time that you have considered me to be on your show. It's a true honor.
You're the best. And for the viewers and for the listeners, I want you to think, what did you get from today? What created value? And most importantly, what did you hear or see that you can implement? Because otherwise this becomes more shelf help, more, oh, that was great, that was interesting. Let me go on to the next blog, the next podcast, you know, the next whatever, the next TV episode, instead of let me breathe this in, let me take it in intrinsically, and let me ask myself the question, what was the gift? Thank you so much for joining us today. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you all next time. Bye now.
You've been listening to Heartpreneur Radio, maximizing your personal and business results by leading with your heart with your host, Terri Levine. This show is produced every week for your enjoyment and education. To make sure you never miss a single show, add us to your favorite RSS feed or subscribe in iTunes. You can also read Terri's latest blog posts at www.heartpreneur.com/blog. Or follow Terri on Twitter at MentorTerri and on Facebook.com/Heartpreneur Terri Levine. Your questions and comments are always welcome and appreciated. Send them to Terri on either Facebook or Twitter. Thank you for listening.